and welcome to another BookTube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books, and happy Sunday. I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. Today was supposed to be my F is for fast fashion video, but that will be going up at some point this week because I've still got a little bit more to film on it. David's been out today, David and I have been out today filming me walking around the park wearing different outfits from like that I've bought secondhand, and like I've really enjoyed doing it. I've really enjoyed it. So still takes a bit of refining, so I will continue with that. But today you have a book haul because although it is only the beginning of June, like the 2nd of June, in the past week or so I've received and bought quite a lot of books, and I wanted to show you before they like back up basically. So there is a chance that there'll be another book haul towards the end of the month, but these are the books I've got. I've split them into sections of non-fiction, cookbooks, fiction, and puzzle book that I bought for my holiday. I'll start with that. I bought this puzzle book for my holiday, the Ordnance Survey puzzle book, Pit Your Wits Against Britain's Greatest Map Makers. I used to love Ordnance Survey's map. In fact, I love maps in general. Like, I remember when I was younger, my dad, like, I used to sit with like a world map open, and my dad used to say, oh, find this country, and I used to find it, and he'd say, what's the capital city, and I'd do that. Obviously that was the 90s, a lot's changed since then, but I really used to like doing that. And I remember doing Ordnance Survey work in geography when I was in maybe in middle school or maybe in secondary school, and I saw this came out for Christmas last year, and I thought, oh, I must put that on my Christmas list because I'd really enjoy doing that, and I didn't. But I'm going to the Lake District in July. I'm very much looking forward to it. Going with my cousin and her husband and my auntie and their and my cousin's daughter, and then my cousin's friend and his fiance, and a whole host of dogs. And I just thought this would be a really nice thing to sort of like work my way through and do. So yeah, I bought myself this, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I tell you, it's taken a lot of willpower to not look at that every day. So well done me, because I want to start doing it. We'll stick. Do you know what? I'll do all the non-fiction first, and then we'll move on to the fiction at the end. I'll do cookbooks next. Why not? The cookbooks that I've bought, that I've got this year, so far this month, I'm just so beside myself over all of them. The first one I pre-ordered, Tin Can Cook by Jack Monroe. Jack Monroe, who I adore. I've actually made a video for Book Break about her last book. I will link that down below if I can still find it. I'm sure I can. She is a fantastic. She started off as a blogger where she would write recipes to feed her and her son when they were living on as little as £1 a day. And people really followed her blog, and now she has cookbooks, and this cookbook is all to do with cooking from tin cans. So this is for, well, I mean, it's for everyone, but with a focus on being able to cook things that don't particularly go out of date, and things that you could, if you can't get to a supermarket every day, being able to buy a week's worth of food and just not having to worry about it going off. She's donated a hell of a lot of these books to food banks. I just think she's a wonderful human being. I really admire her, and I'm really looking forward to doing some tin can cooking, because she wants to say that you can still have fun cooking from tin cans, and you can still cook delicious food, and you can still get your 5 a day cooking from tin cans. So I'm very much looking forward to it, and the tagline is, grab a tin opener and an open mind and let Tin Can Cook surprise you. The end result in every single one of these recipes is so much more than the sum of its parts. Now, the first thing I looked at when I saw is carrot cake overnight oats. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? And all you need for that is a tin of carrots, milk, porridge oats, dried sultanas or mixed peel, cinnamon and sugar, which is optional but delicious. And we love overnight oats, me and David, so I'll definitely be doing that. But there's all sorts of things in here, like chili roasted chickpeas, no cook pasta, pasta e fagioli. There's things to do with fish. There's also puddings you can make, rhubarb and custard crumble, fruit cocktail cake, chocolate pear cake. I'm really looking forward to getting into this, and as I said, she's an amazing woman. Jack Monroe, love her. And then the next one is one that I got sent earlier this month, and I've already cooked quite a lot from it as well. You will not be surprised to find that I was delighted to receive a copy of The Quick Roasting Tin. This is out now. I got it sent to me by lovely Lena, who sent it to me just before it came out, so I was delighted to receive. I've cooked quite a lot from it already, and I just love it. You will know from, if you've watched this channel before, that the green roasting tin is probably probably my favourite cookbook of all time. I absolutely love that book. And this is the third in her series of roasting tin books. And basically you just chop stuff, put it in an oven tin, stick it in the oven. It's quick. It's made my cooking so much faster. It's made me be really inventive. Like for instance, last night, this wasn't from the green roasting, this wasn't from this one, this was from the green roasting tin, but I had a friend round last night to watch the RuPaul's Drag Race final, and I said I would do okra and chickpea curry, which is you just basically put everything in a big oven dish and put it in the oven. And the shop didn't have any okra, and we only had 1 can of chickpeas. So we had, in the end, we ended up having green bean, chickpea, and butterbean curry, and it was absolutely delicious. So as well as having like amazing recipes in these books, and I really do mean amazing recipes, it's really this is one we've had already, masala roasted corn with quick coriander chutney. We've had that, and I've actually made that coriander chutney 3 times since, last night included. Charred tender stem with black beans, avocado and peanuts. Yum. And yeah, just amazing, just really fantastic cooking, but also like quite educational in terms of like what you can replace things with. And yeah, I just love these books. I just think she's amazing. And I think if you are I consider myself quite a good cook, and I can follow a recipe very well, but I still find these flavor combinations and things, I'm learning from it all the time. I just think it's amazing. And but also similarly, if you're coming to cooking, what is easier than chopping stuff, putting it in an oven tray and then sticking it in the oven for 30 minutes. It's just a fantastic series. Love the green roasting tin, and the stuff I've had out of this so far, the quick roasting tin, has been fantastic. Really happy about that. I got a few bits of book posts this morning, which I put on my Instagram stories, and one of which being another cookbook called Green by Pere. This was sent to me by the publisher. Absolutely delighted about this, and I had never even heard of Pere. Now Pere has a blog where she blogs recipes and things like that. I saw this, I follow Charlotte Jacqueline on Instagram, who formerly of Betty magazine, and she'd received a press copy of this, and it just looked absolutely amazing. It's vegetarian food, veggie and vegan food, and I just thought, oh my god, I need that so much. So one thing I like about it, I've had a flick through it already this morning, and one thing that I do like is that it's got a seasonal section, which I love that. I love that they've got recipes which would be suited to spring, summer, autumn and winter, and like sort of like buildable recipes as well. So for instance, in spring they've got a sesame roasted new potato salad, charred asparagus with smoked salt and melted wild butter, my god, stuffed spiral phyllo pie, and then the dessert, almond, lemon and raspberry jam cake. Oh my god, just, and look, that's that almond, lemon and raspberry jam cake. Just absolutely fantastic. And then also there's a freezer section at the beginning, which I think is amazing, where you can make a base recipe and then it gives you like 2 or 3 suggestions of what to do with that base recipe. So for instance, rose harissa chickpeas is her base recipe, and you can eat that by itself, you can have it with rice, you can do whatever you want with it, but then she also suggests that you have it with gremolata on toast, or the other combination is with za'atar baked feta and a lemony herb salad. My god, my mouth is actually watering. And the photography in this is just amazing, and I just feel like I'm going to really bond with this. Actually, I'm going to my sister's for dinner tonight, and I put on Instagram a picture of this, which is nutty slaw with melted blue cheese toasts. They're going to a barbecue this afternoon, so they're not going to want a big dinner, and I was like, we are going to have that, and if we don't have that, I've bought all the stuff so David and I can have it for lunch tomorrow. So yeah, I just think this is going to be a new favourite. I'm really looking forward to actually, I've like flicked through half of it earlier, and I want another session flicking through it. Oh sorry, I didn't mean to touch you there. Do you know what, move those books, Lauren, because you're only going to keep tapping. So yeah, as I mentioned, Quick Roasting Sim was sent to me kindly by Lena, who works at Vintage. I saw Lena at the Women's Prize shortlist party, and we had a lovely big chat, and we were talking about a lot of books, and she sent me some books that she thought I would like, one of which being Invisible Women, Exposing Data Bias in a World Designed for Men by Caroline Creado Perez. And this just sounds amazing. So it just says, imagine a world where your phone is too big for your hand, where your doctor prescribes a drug that is wrong for your body, where in a car accident you are 47% more likely to be seriously injured, where every week the countless hours of work you do are not recognised or valued. If any of this sounds familiar, chances are you're a woman. And yeah, it's all about statistics and things that have been sort of, so if we allude to this statistic of 47% more likely to be seriously injured in a car accident, that's because test dummies are based on male bodies. So when they test cars crashing, they're testing them on what it would be like for a male to be in a car crash as opposed to a woman. And yeah, there's just lots of stuff like that in there, and I just think this is going to be hella interesting and hella important, and I'm going to be quoting these at everybody I know, so lucky you if you know me in real life. And then I got sent by Ebury. This sounds amazing. This is Skint Estate by Cashaway. Actually, I'll do these together. So I got sent this as well. I've read this already, so I got sent this earlier on in the month. This is Lowborn by Hudson. It says here, growing up, getting away and returning to Britain's poorest towns. I'm not going to go on about this in a haul because I have mentioned it in my favourites video and I've mentioned it in my wrap up, but I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, one of my favourite books of the year. But it's about Carrie Hudson returning to the places she was brought up in, some of Britain's poorest towns. And think it's amazing, loved it, got it this month, so I had to include it in the haul. But off the back of that, I've also been sent Skint Estate by Cashaway, and this sounds amazing. So this says, Cashaway is a single mum living in temporary accommodation. She's been moved around the system since she left home at 16. She's also been called a stain upon society, and she's caught in a poverty trap. Skint Estate is the hard-hitting debut memoir about impoverishment, loneliness and violence, set against a grim landscape of sink estates, police cells, refugees and peep shows. This is a book born straight from life lived in Britain below the poverty line, a brutal landscape savaged by universal credit, 0 hours contract, rising rent and public service funding cuts. Told with a dark link of humour and 2 fingers up to the establishment, Cash takes us on her isolated journey from council house childhood to single motherhood, working multiple jobs yet relying on food banks and temporary accommodation, all while skewering stereotypes of what it means to be working class. So yeah, I mean, this isn't out until July, but I read Lowborn and just found it so eye-opening and amazing, and I just thought it was fantastic and so important, and there's just not... I just don't feel like there's literature out there about this sort of stuff, and this is the sort of thing that's so important and people need to read to realise that there is poverty in this country and how awful it is. And yeah, I can't wait to read that. I think it sounds absolutely fucking amazing, so really looking forward to reading that. And then I've been sent this from lovely Emma at Book Break. This is Queer Intentions, a personal journey through LGBTQ+ culture by Amelia Abraham, and this says here, blah, 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 blah. Today the options and freedoms on offer to LGBTQ+ living in the West are greater than ever before, but are same-sex marriage, improved media visibility and corporate endorsement all they've cracked up to be? At what cost does this acceptance come, and who's getting left behind, particularly in parts of the world where LGBTQ+ rights aren't so advanced? So it says, combining intrepid journalism with her own personal experience, Amelia Abraham searches for the answers to these urgent challenges, as well as the broader question of what it means to be queer in 2019. So yeah, sounds amazing. And then that is all the non-fiction done. Amazing. I mean, I feel like this is probably the best book haul I've ever done. They're all absolutely amazing. And then I've also got some fiction here. Oh no, hold on. Hold on, I don't know if this is, I think this might be non-fiction. This has been sent to me. Let's have a look. Well, let's start with this. No, it is a novel. Well, we'll start with it anyway. This is, oh, look at this. Ex-prom queen. I'll put this sash on. Oh, it's always been my dream to be a prom queen. It hasn't. Ex-prom queen. Memoirs of an Ex-Prom Queen by Alex Kate Shulman, which is over 1 million copies sold. Apparently it's a cult classic that defined a generation. Very exciting. Lovely. So this is from Serpent's Tail. They sent it to me, and this was first published in 1972. It's a landmark novel that follows Sasha's coming of age through the sexual double standards, job discrimination and harassment of the 1950s and 60s. 5 decades later, it remains a funny and heartbreaking story of a young woman in a man's world. So yeah, it's set in 1950s suburbia. Sasha Davis has everything she could want, beauty, intelligence, and an all-star sports captain boyfriend. All she needs to succeed is to keep her skin clear and her intelligence hidden under her prom-keen tiara. But when she drops out of college to marry, Sasha soon realises her life has become a fearful countdown to her 30th birthday, the year when her beauty will have faded and life as she knows it will have ended. Very interesting. And with a sash, so bonus for that. I do like that sash. Ex-prom queen, very good indeed. So yes, so that's the first fiction book, and then I've been sent the new Ian McEwan book. This is one of the books that Lena has sent me. This is Machines Like Me. Woohoo! This is nice. Oh look, she's got me a lovely. Oh, I didn't even read that. I didn't even read that when I got that. So cute. And this is, yeah, this is Ian McEwan's new novel, which I know nothing about, so let's read and learn together. Britain has lost the Falklands War, Margaret Thatcher battles Tony Benn for power, and Alan Turing achieves a breakthrough in artificial intelligence. In a world not quite like this one, 2 lovers will be tested beyond their understanding. Machines Like Me takes place in an alternative 1980s London. Charlie, drifting through life and dodging full-time employment, is in love with Miranda, a bright student who lives with a terrible secret. When Charlie comes into money, he buys Adam, one of the first synthetic humans, and with Miranda's help, he designs Adam's personality. Heti. The near-perfect human that emerges is beautiful, strong and clever. It isn't long before a love triangle forms and these three beings confront a profound moral dilemma. Well, I mean, I didn't expect that in a McEwan novel. A love triangle involving artificial intelligence. That has surprised me. We'll have to give that a go. This is one that I'm very excited about. This is Jeanette Winterson's Frankissstein, a love story. This is also, this is a retelling of Frankenstein. It says here, in Brexit Britain, a young transgender doctor called Rise falling in love against their better judgment with Victor Stein, a celebrated professor leading the public debate around AI. Another book about AI. Meanwhile, Ron Lord, just divorced and living with mum again, is set to make his fortune launching a new generation of sex dolls for lonely men everywhere. And then it says, across the Atlantic in Phoenix, Arizona, a cryonics facility houses dozens of bodies of men and women who are medically and legally dead but waiting to return to life. But the scene is set in 1816 when 19-year-old Mary Shelley writes a story about creating a non-biological life form. Beware, for I am fearless and therefore more powerful. What will happen when Homo sapiens is no longer, this sounds amazing, when Homo sapiens is no longer the smartest beings on the earth? Jeanette Winterson shows us how much closer we are to the future than we realise. Funny and furious, bold and clear-sighted, Frankissstein is a love story about itself again. About life itself. Bloody hell. That sounds amazing. Really, really looking forward to reading that. Bloody hell. It says on the back, I am what I am, but what I am is not one thing, not one gender. I live with doubleness. Bloody hell. Fantastic. Amazing. And then the actual book that Lena and I were talking about that night was a book called Motherhood by Sheila Heti. This is a proof, but I believe it's already out. I don't know when it came out, but I believe it's already out. And she was talking about it, and I was saying, oh, do you know what? Because I feel like the title would have put me off because I don't want children. David and I don't want children. We don't think that's going to change. It might change, but we don't think it's going to. And that sort of felt like, oh, I don't know if this is a book that I would like. And I said to her, oh, I feel like the title maybe would have put me off. And she said, well, don't let it put you off. It sounds amazing. And this is about it says, motherhood treats one of the most consequential decisions of early adulthood, whether or not to have children, with the intelligence, wit and originality that have won Sheila Heti international acclaim. Having reached an age where most of her peers are asking themselves when they will become mothers, Heti's narrator considers with the same urgency the question of whether she will do so at all. Over the course of several years, under the influence of her partner, her body, her family, mysticism and chance, Heti's narrator struggles to make a wise and meaningful choice. In the semi-diaristic mode, God, bloody hell, all these books sound amazing. In the semi-diaristic mode of a woman in conversation with herself, motherhood raises radical and essential questions, including whether this pivotal decision can even be considered a decision at all. I feel like that was written for me. That's amazing. And then the last book I've got, I'm very, very excited about this, and this isn't out until September. And it is the new Jessie Burton. It's called The Confession. It's been published by Picador in September, and I am so, so excited. Like, I really enjoyed Jessie Burton's books. I loved The Restless Girls. I also loved The Muse. The Miniaturist I wasn't like a massive fan of. I did enjoy it, but we read The Muse for my book club and I really, really loved it. And this is so exciting that that she's got another book coming out this year. She is a bloody hard worker. She's very, very, very hard working. It's also, do you know what? Like, I feel like I've read from a lot of these books, but because they're all so new to me, lovely love letter from Emma there, thank you Emma. I feel like we've had to learn together today, so I hope that's okay. I'm not a big fan of people just holding up books and reading out what's in them, but like, I've got books that I'm not that sure what they're about, I feel like we need to do it, and why not do it for this new Jessie Burton book? So this says, one winter's afternoon on Hampstead Heath in 1980, Elise Morceau meets Constance Holden and quickly falls under her spell. Connie is bold and alluring, a successful writer whose novel is being turned into a major Hollywood film. Elsie follows Connie to LA, a city of strange dreams and swimming pools and late night gatherings of glamorous people. But whilst Connie thrives on the heat and electricity of this new world where everyone is reaching for the stars and no one is telling the truth, Elise finds herself floundering. When she overhears a conversation at a party that turns everything on its head, Elise makes an impulsive decision that will change her life forever. 3 decades later, Rose Simmons is seeking answers about her mother who disappeared when she was a baby. Having learned that the last person to see her was Constance Holden, a reclusive novelist who withdrew from public life at the peak of her fame, Rose is drawn to the door of Connie's imposing house in search of a confession. Bloody hell, that sounds good too. So, I honestly think that might be the best book haul I've ever done on this channel. Every single one of those, I am beside myself about. And this month is June now, and at the moment I'm reading all books to do with Jane Eyre. So I've got to sort of put them off for a while. Apart from the cookbooks, I can crack on with those, and I'm definitely not allowed to crack on with my Ordnance survey puzzle book. So yeah, I think a lot of these are going to get read in July maybe, because that's how excited I am about it. So those are the books that I got my hands on in the last bit of May and the first bit of July. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if you are keen to read any of them or if you've read any of them. And yeah, that's it from me today, and I will see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!